Hey there, everyone. Welcome to a cozy chat about Prince William and Prince Harry's little disagreement. Now, pretty much everyone, unless you've been living under a rock and missed the news, knows about the tiff between these two princes during their younger days. They used to be super tight. William always had Harry's back, especially after their mom's sad passing. They leaned on each other for support during tough times. But here's the twist. It's not just about Meghan Markle, as we all assumed. Joining us in this royal tale are the King YouTube channel, of course. When Meghan entered Harry's life, folks noticed the brothers drifting apart. Sure, Meghan's choices might have played a role. William and Catherine had some issues with how Meghan treated the staff and how quickly Harry tied the knot. These were legit concerns, and Harry, well, he didn't exactly take his brother and sister-in-law's advice. But hold on to your tiaras. According to a fresh report from the Times, there's another reason behind the royal fallout, and surprisingly, it has nothing to do with Meghan Markle. Intriguing, right? In this article from the Times by Kate Manzi and Jane Flanagan, the headline spills the beans on why Prince Harry and Prince William had a falling out. We all know about their well-documented feud, but what's surprising is that it all started with their views on conservation work. According to a palace source sharing insights with these writers, the rift between William and Harry goes way back, even before Meghan entered the picture. Interestingly, it revolves around their differing perspectives on conservation efforts. In recent weeks, the spotlight has been on Harry's African parks, with claims from the Baka people gaining attention. They allege that the guards working for Harry's African Parks charity are involved in serious misconduct, from being abusive to acting as obstacles for people trying to gather food in the forest. Shockingly, these accusations remain unaddressed by Harry. Instead of taking meaningful action to aid these people, Prince Harry seems to be passing the buck, claiming he informed the CEO, asserting it's the CEO's responsibility to address the issue. This approach is understandably drawing criticism, with many, myself included, expressing that Harry could be doing much more. He has the opportunity to make a genuine impact and support the indigenous people in the region by backing his words with action. Rather than actively helping those in need, Harry and Meghan are diverting their attention to addressing online bullying, as reported in the Times. A piece in the Mail on Sunday uncovered serious allegations against rangers employed by African parks, accusing them of assaulting and raping indigenous people in the rainforest of Central Africa. The organization, responsible for 22 national parks spanning 20 million hectares across 12 African countries, including the Republic of the Congo, where the reported abuses occurred, deploys 1,400 guards. The chair of African Parks needs to take swift and decisive action to address these concerning accusations. Last year, Harry was elevated to the board of directors of the African Parks charity after serving as its president for 6 years. Many speculate that this move was a strategic one on Harry's part. Allegations of abuse were known, and he might have wanted to distance himself from potential fallout, prompting his shift from president to the board. It's worth noting that Harry was made aware of these abuse claims as far back as May 2023, as reported in the Times. However, Harry's representatives, responding to inquiries from the Mail on Sunday, asserted that the Duke promptly brought these serious allegations to the attention of the CEO and chairman of the Board of African Parks, the individuals deemed appropriate to handle the situation. While this might be the official line, it's receiving criticism, especially in light of Harry and Meghan's statement on their Arch 12 website emphasizing the importance of not passing the buck when it comes to online bullying of children. The public is calling for more decisive action from Harry in response to the serious allegations. Well, Harry seems to be doing exactly what he preaches against with his own African Parks charity. There's word that he's planning a Netflix documentary highlighting his conservation efforts, but the concern is whether he'll address the harrowing stories of the Baka people who face brutality from his own rangers. This kind of hypocrisy is what turns off many when it comes to Harry and Meghan's alleged charity. The truth is, they hold significant power and have the ability to positively impact the lives of others. However, according to reports by the Times, it seems they might not be inclined to do so. This attitude disappoints and alienates many. In response to the allegations, African Parks has stated that it maintains a zero tolerance policy for any form of abuse. An external law firm is leading an investigation into the claims, and the organization asserts its collaboration with the Congolese police to ensure that perpetrators of any abuses are brought to justice. As per the Times article, the brothers' past disagreements might have foreshadowed the pitfalls of their conservation approaches. Both William and Harry are deeply passionate about the preservation of endangered species in Africa and share a commitment to combating poaching. However, it appears that their visions haven't always aligned, particularly in their strategies for saving these animals and preventing poaching. The report in the Times indicates that William and Harry frequently had differing opinions on the most effective methods to decrease poaching and safeguard endangered species in Africa. A source close to both princes mentioned they're both very passionate about saving protected species, but didn't always see eye to eye on how to manage projects in Africa. Honestly, this report doesn't come as a surprise to me. It seems like William is a cautious individual, someone who carefully considers his associations. I can't picture William putting his name on something without giving it thorough thought. On the flip side, Harry doesn't appear to exercise the same level of discretion. Take, for instance, that rather questionable award he recently received, the Living Legends of Aviation. William was approached about it too, but he declined. It seems like Harry might lack the ability to critically analyze situations and grasp the reality of what's happening. This could explain why he doesn't exercise the same caution when aligning himself with charities, organizations, and even awards. To put it plainly, Harry seems more desperate, while William is not driven by the same sense of urgency. As per an inside source, William advocates for community-led schemes, emphasizing the importance of empowering local people over time to take charge of protecting the land. On the contrary, Harry leans towards a more interventionist approach, believing in a hands-on method to swiftly secure wildlife habitats for immediate change. Personally, I find William's plan to be better and more sustainable. Harry's approach, with its hands-on strategy, seems to have its downsides evident in the reported abuse suffered by poor indigenous people at the hands of these rangers. The issue with Harry's method is clear, prioritizing wildlife habitats over the well-being of indigenous people who have called these lands home for thousands of years. While William's approach has its challenges too, as sometimes local people might be put in danger, the Times article highlights a tragic incident. William's close friend, Anton Ziba, a 42-year-old ranger in Kruger National Park, lost his life to gunmen, shedding light on the risks associated with community-led conservation efforts. Indeed, the loss of Anton Ziba is a tragic event. While it's undoubtedly heartbreaking, it's essential to compare it to Harry's approach, where it seems there are significantly more casualties. One notable issue with Harry's method is its heavy reliance on funds from Western donors. Hiring rangers and managing these projects requires substantial financial resources. Unfortunately, this financial reliance can be susceptible to corruption, adding a layer of complexity. Given Harry and Meghan's history with questionable financial practices, as seen in their Arkwell Foundation, it raises concerns. Moreover, Harry's approach has led to tensions with communities, disrupting their traditional grazing and herding practices, as reported by the Times. This aspect raises serious challenges, emphasizing the drawbacks of his interventionist strategy. The Baka people find themselves in a difficult situation as they attempt to gather food in the same way their ancestors have for thousands of years, only to be obstructed by Harry's rangers. This clash represents a significant challenge for the Baka community. Back in 2017, Harry spent 3 weeks in Malawi collaborating with African Parks on the ambitious task of relocating 500 elephants. However, at the project's conclusion, Harry took a subtle dig at William, stating, "To allow the coexistence of people and animals, fences are increasingly having to be used to separate the two and try to keep the peace." Once the fence is up, you are now managing a parcel of land. Different rules have to apply whether we like it or not. Under these conditions, human intervention and stabilizing nature might be required by park managers. This comment reflects Harry's perspective on the evolving dynamics between wildlife and human communities. Um, it seems one major issue is that Harry might not grasp the complexities of the situation in Africa as outlined in the Times. The on the ground reality is far more intricate than a simple group of park rangers. Operating in volatile conditions with a yearly budget of $100 million, the charity faces challenges that blur the lines between conflict and conservation. One significant problem highlighted is that the ranger force is often better paid and equipped than local armies. In places like Benin, anti-poaching units are likened to counter-terrorism forces in their efforts to protect endangered species from militants. Despite this comparison, the charity appears hesitant to embrace it. Internal reports leaked by a charity member detailed an incident from 2020 where a director of W National Park deployed anti-poaching units supported by a helicopter and light aircraft on a 36-hour hunt for terrorists. This incident underscores the complexity and intensity of the situations the charity deals. A couple of years later in the same park, a grim incident unfolded. 7 staff members of African parks, including 4 rangers and a French trainer, fell victim to militants in a series of roadside bombings. This tragic event, along with the recent incidents, suggests that what we've heard this week might just be the tip of the iceberg. Reports indicate other instances where these guards, seemingly out of control, targeted not only locals but even African Park's own senior staff. Given the escalating concerns and incidents, it's evident that Harry should seriously reconsider his involvement in this charity. If he insists on staying involved, there is a pressing need for a reassessment of the organization's approach, with a focus on ensuring the safety and ethical conduct of its personnel. There have been multiple instances of armed rebellions by the guards against the management of the charity, a fact acknowledged by African Parks to the Times. The charity admitted that such incidents are particularly challenging, especially in regions with low levels of education and ongoing instability. They highlighted the need for a continued professionalization process to ensure long-term stability, safety, and security for the benefit of the people. However, there's a concerning development with Harry's involvement. Despite his lack of experience and understanding, according to the Times, Harry accepted a promotion from a primarily figurehead position to a more demanding role. The article reports that a former member of African Parks management team, choosing to remain anonymous, has raised questions about the suitability of the Duke of Sussex for a governance role guiding the charity's management through complex and dangerous situations. The source told the Times that Harry lacks the necessary tools and experience to navigate through such crises effectively. This circles back to a fundamental issue with Harry and Meghan in their pursuits. It seems they lack the necessary skills, talents, and often the awareness that they don't possess these qualities. Rather than acquiring the expertise needed, they appear content to rely on their status to secure influential positions. Their eagerness to assume roles without the requisite knowledge is evident, fueled by a desire to appear powerful and important. African Parks faces another criticism, that of green colonialism. This label stems from the lack of African representation on its board, dominated instead by affluent individuals dictating directives to Africans. The problem lies in individuals like Harry not fully comprehending the complexities of the situation. His lack of understanding raises concerns about his ability to ensure the safety of Indigenous people, highlighting the challenges associated with his involvement. At this juncture, the right course of action for Harry would be to step down from the board of directors. However, such a move seems unlikely, driven by Harry's apparent desperation to outshine his brother and maintain a sense of relevance and importance. His attachment to the board of directors' role takes precedence over potential harm caused to others. According to the Times, African Parks exhibits no signs of slowing down, fueled by substantial financial backing. The annual budget of $100 million supplied by billionaire backers has emboldened the organization to set an ambitious goal of managing 30 parks by 2030. A recent acquisition of 2,000 southern white rhinos from a private owner in South Africa illustrates the scale of their operations, with the owner estimating a monthly cost of $425,000 for feeding and protecting the rhinos from poachers. The plan to rewild animals across Africa in the next decade is undeniably one of the most ambitious conservation initiatives, likely why Netflix finds it documentary worthy. While the conservation of endangered species like rhinos and elephants is crucial for Africa's ecosystem and the world, it must not come at the expense of the local people. The well-being of those who live in these regions, struggling to sustain themselves, should not be overlooked. It's apparent that at the very least, hairy and African parks need to conduct some serious house cleaning. They must assess the extent of the issue with the guards and find effective ways to bring them under control. Failing to do so could result in continued abuse and even murder of countless indigenous people, a deeply troubling and unacceptable consequence. Conservation efforts should not come at the expense of human lives. Hey there, let's dive into a little chat. Today, we're delving into your responses on the video tied to our recent topic, giving a shout out to Eat Money for engaging with us. We're unpacking Harry and Meghan's recent statement on Arch, specifically addressing the distressing issue of online child abuse. It's a real concern, no doubt. In the video, we touched on the underlying reason for their interest. They seem keen on silencing their critics. Hypocrisy crept in as we pondered why Harry and Meghan are vocal about online bullying, but mum on the troubles in African parks. Let's explore your thoughts on this. Let's share the first comment from Carol Prey 9816. Carol mentions, I'm curious about how they're actually helping the families of online bullies. We've seen their minimal support for other organizations, and the Africa Parks issue they're associated with won't fade away. It's Harry's charity, and he knew about the problems a year ago without taking action. He'll be answerable for his inaction and collaboration, as will Meghan Markle. I completely agree with you, Carol. Harry seems indifferent to the issues in Africa, making him appear less than courageous. I'm eager for the truth to expose them as the fraudsters they are. Sue Clark adds, if they were genuinely working with these families, Meghan would have arranged for photos with backgrid. Absolutely. She never misses a photo opportunity. Cam Fung asks, how will they be held accountable then? Even their flesh and blood taste nasty. Unless they transform into a snake and a rat, they can still be made into stew. Well, that's a bizarre image, but I believe accountability can come from the public, and that's what we're aiming for on this channel. Now, let's delve into the comment from 11/11/9033. She shares, Mom, I love being a mom. It's the best thing ever. However, she seems to have invisible children. We also noticed that, and to me, it was even worse the way she seemed to flaunt it in front of mothers who had lost their children. It's incredibly insensitive. She just can't read the room. She talks about being a mom, but it doesn't seem like she takes care of those kids. I doubt those kids even live with them, and I'm skeptical if she's their biological mother. Kim agrees. Sue Clark adds, she's mommy dearest to Harry. That's so true. She's more like a mommy to Harry than to those invisible children. Hugh Gilbert chimes in, haha, yes, invisible children. We can't see them, so as far as we're concerned, they are invisible. Now let's check out Cam Fung's comment. Cam wonders, why would two bullies and flankers of school deserve the busy schedule and time of children? If we ask this to actual children, Harry and Meghan would probably be nobodies in their world. The only children they might make a difference for, if they're truly their biological parents, are Archie and Lily, who seem to be facing child neglect. But then again, we all know there are... Kim agrees and adds, okay, I don't believe there are children either. I'll have to share something I found online in another video, suggesting that Invisib may be a real child. But does she live with Harry and Meghan? I hope not. It's truly heartbreaking if Harry and Meghan are responsible for two children, because if true, it's incredibly sad. Without a doubt, it's a clear case of child neglect. Just consider how seldom they're seen with their kids, always jetting off somewhere, collecting awards they paid for, or enjoying vacations. The children seem left in the shadows. Now let's hear from Dizzy Chef. Dizzy shares they want people to like them. Haha, Meg taught me how to hate another female. I've never had hate in my heart and mind until Meg, for some reason. I don't hate Harry yet, but I'm getting close. I was hopeful for him, but he's becoming like Meg. I pray for the children in Jamaica and Africa. Being poor and hungry isn't enough, but to have two with millions knowing what's happening and turning away when they could help, how many beautiful people must suffer? Look at a so-called prince and his wife, knowing they can't get help from the royals. Remove those titles, King Charles. It's in your name too. It's in the name of the royals. Kim agrees with you, Dizzy. You're spot on. The royal family needs to strip them of their titles. They can't hold Duke and Duchess titles while being complicit in these atrocities. Now, let's dive into Sue Clark's thoughts. Sue expresses, my thoughts about this match yours. They don't care about kids or anyone else. This is about them silencing and censoring, once again using kids as props. This one and that one are just irrelevant noise. The only statement I want to hear from them is when they apologize to the UK former staff, both their fathers and families, and everyone else they've hurt, harmed, and offended, telling the truth about those invisible kids and seriously addressing what happened in Africa. You're absolutely right, Sue. Until they do all of that, they shouldn't be talking about online bullying of children. They're some of the biggest bullies out there, along with their supporters. So until they apologize for all the harm they've caused, it's best for them to keep quiet and stay out of the spotlight. What are your thoughts on the whole African park situation? Do you think Harry should step down from the board of directors, or do you believe he can contribute positively to the organization? Share your opinions in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to like and share it with others who might find it interesting. And if you haven't already, click subscribe to stay updated with all our content. From the King YouTube channel, thank you for tuning in. Wishing you a fantastic day, and I'll catch you in the next videos.